this video, I want to show you 3 ways that you can prepare for your final exam so you can ace them every single time. Watch this. Hey, what's up? This is Kantis Simmons, academic success coach and leading authority on student improvement, as well as the creator of the Playing Your A Game program. In this video today, I want to talk to you about 3 ways that you can prepare for your final exams. Now, I want to share these 3 ways with you so that you can ace your final exams and get the grade that you really deserve. Now, before I tell you about these 3 ways, I want to go back to show you how these 3 ways came about. In my senior year in high school, I battled with senioritis. Now, you know what senioritis is. Well, maybe you don't. But it's basically this process where you go through in high school where you feel like you've arrived. And in your senior year, sometimes you lack the discipline. Sometimes you slack up. You just really don't feel like doing any of your work, doing your homework, preparing, because you know you're going to graduate soon. Well, I was taking an advanced literature class, and honestly, in that class, I was acting like a fool, trying to be cool, and wasn't doing my work. And my mother came to see my teacher. Now, this may have been maybe like 2 months before the actual end of the school year when I was supposed to graduate. My mom went to go see my teacher, and the teacher told my mom, Kantis is failing. Yes, Kantis, the guy that had the highest GPA in high school as a male, I was flunking English. Why this is so important? Because if I didn't pass English, I wasn't going to graduate, even though I had a high GPA. So my mom talked to the teacher. My mom came home and gave me that speech. Yes. So I got my act together. And it came to the time period that my final exam was going to determine if I had a certain grade, good for my GPA, and also a great grade that's going to help me for my final exam. And I did a lot of different things to prepare for that final exam. And you know what? I passed the final exam with an A. Now, I say this because regardless of where you may be right now, in middle school, high school, college, grad school, maybe you're a returning adult enrolled in an online degree program, preparing for your tests, they're very important. And if you're preparing for your final exams, here are 3 things that you can do immediately to prepare for your exam, even if it's next week or tomorrow. Okay, cool. Here's the first thing. Number 1 is this. Go see your teacher. Yes, go spend some one-on-one time with your teacher. Now, why do I say that? Number 1, when you go see your teacher, I want you to find out where you are in the class. Meaning, what's your current grade before the exam? And also find out if you make an A on the exam, will it be enough to pull your grade up to where you want it to be? That's the first thing. And the second thing I want you to do when you go see your teacher, find out what's going to be on the test. Yes, who's better equipped to tell you what's going to be on the final exam? Now, I'm pretty sure your teacher told you what was going to be on the final exam in the classroom, but by you taking the initiative to simply ask your teacher and professor, hey, what's going to be on the test? Is this going to be a multiple choice test, an essay test? Is this test going to be a review of our past tests, or will this test just cover the things that we've covered the last part of the semester or quarter? So step number 1 is to go spend some time with your teacher. Number 1, find out where you currently are in the class, and then have a conversation with your teacher to find out what's on the final exam. Either he or she can tell you yes, or they can tell you no. But you took the initiative to ask them, and maybe from that conversation, you can get better information about what's going to be on the test. Here's number 2. Number 2 is prepare for your final exam by taking final exams. I like to say it this way when you're taking a test. The best way to prepare for any test is by taking tests. See, traditionally, what people do when preparing for a test, they will spend a lot of time studying. Yes, that's correct. But another thing that you can do to prepare for a test is to take tests or practice exams. Now, how can you do this? Number one way to prepare for a test by taking tests. See if you can locate some of the old tests that your teacher or that school may have offered to past classes. Find those tests, and then you go through looking and reviewing those tests and taking those tests all over again. Now, what this does for you is, number one, gives you experience in taking the test, but it also gives you an outlook on what type of questions were on the test. Now, the second thing you can do is to prepare your own test from your study notes. Now, in a previous video somewhere on my page, I talked about notes. And this is where, take a piece of paper here. You got a piece of paper here. So in that video, and you can find it there, I encourage students to take their study notes on the one side of the page. These are all the notes that you would take in the classroom during the lecture or whenever you're in the classroom and the teacher is talking about the subject. You take all of your classroom notes on the left-hand side of the piece of paper. Then on the right-hand side, you go home and you prepare test questions that go with the study notes on the left-hand side. Now, we're preparing for your final exam. The process works the same. Now, maybe you didn't split your paper in half like I taught in that video, but you can take all of your notes and then, looking at your study notes, prepare test questions from those study notes. Just go down through your study notes and then you develop a test question that go along with the study notes. Now, as you're taking the study notes with those test questions that you make up, now you are testing yourself on the information. So the best way to prepare for your exam, second way, is to prepare by taking more tests. Either find tests that have been offered in the past, or two, create your own tests from your current study notes. Oh, and by the way, the third thing would be this: retake the tests that were administered all semester or quarter long. You know how you have the test on certain chapters and certain subjects from the beginning of the semester? Take and review all of those tests. Even go so far, if you have certain test questions wrong, go to the teacher and find out what was the right answer on that test. Now, by the way, you should have did that, hint, hint, when you got your test back the first time. But if you didn't do that, go look at all your tests, look at all of the right answers, look at all of the wrong answers, and find out what will it take to make all of the answers correct. Prepare for tests by taking tests. Now, here's the third way that you can prepare for your final exam so that you can ace it. The third way is this: study with your top 5. Now you say, Kantis, what's the top 5? The top 5 are the top 5 students in your class who you feel are the A students or who knows the information. There are some statistics that say that your salary in life is the average of the 5 people you hang around. I like to remix that a little bit and say this: the 5 people you hang around in school, your GPA or your grade in that class will be the average of those 5 people. Now, either one or two things will happen. You're right in the middle, or you're on the top, or you're on the bottom. Now, you assess your grade and you look to see who are the 5 people you're hanging out with. If you want better grades, study with better students. If you want higher grades, study with the students that have the higher grades in the classroom. So here's the thing: identify the top 5 people in your class right now. Reach out to them. Approach them. Either plan a study session with them or have some meaningful conversation about some of the topics, the subjects, the formulas, any and everything that concerns that class. What would that do for you? Number one, you'll meet a good friend. But number two, you'll begin to piggyback off of the knowledge, the wisdom, and the success, and also the insight that that student has. So that's your third way to prepare for tests. Study with your top 5. Now, just to review, the top 3 ways to prepare for a test. Number 1, go see your teacher. Find out what the teacher is talking about. Find out what's going to be on the test. Find out where you are currently in the class. Number 2, prepare for your exam by taking more exams. Yes, prepare for your test by taking more tests. And the third way, study with your top 5. Did you enjoy that? Was that good for you? Hey, here's what I want you to do. I want you to leave me a comment below and tell me, number 1, if these techniques work for you. And number 2, leave me a comment and let me know some other things that you do to prepare for your final exam. I would love to read your comment, and I'm going to do a better job in responding to all of my comments, okay? Hey, I'm Kantis Simmons. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Any of the links below, take advantage of this, and be so kind to share this video with another student or another colleague that you say they must watch this video. Hey, I'm Kantis Simmons, and remember this, there's only one game in life that counts, and that's your A game. Have a blessed day.